Psychonauts and Cosmic Thoughts? It is Zalloon, and what you just heard was my friend's band playing. They absolutely kill it. Saguaro, link down in the description. They just put out their new EP. I made an album cover for them. Oh, really, really awesome stuff. If you're into like Jimi Hendrix or anything with like electric guitar, they nail the electric guitar, that 60s, 70s vibe. They crush it. I'm gonna gush over them some more. But they just recently played, they've been playing a few shows like that are, you know, smaller scale, and they're finally like getting into, you know, the next tier of shows, if you will. And this is, I've got a story about one of these shows that happened a few weeks ago. I recorded myself telling this story not that, like the week afterwards. Anyways, so I thought I'd do, you know, the drawing is gonna be a little less trippy. If you wanna, it's a lot easier to follow along. I've got like this Alex Gray inspired drawing in the background that it came out looking awesome. I really dig it. And I ended up, the guy who let them record their EP, I ended up giving it to him as like a thank you for letting them record their EP. But they played one of these shows, shenanigans ensued as they always do. And I want to tell that story. So if you dig it, we'll get back to the trippier stuff. But this one's a little more relaxed, a little more kicked back. I'm about to finish this and start working on their music video. That is going to be a trippy one. No idea which way it's gonna go, but let's do it. I've met a kid recently in my life named Henry. I'm spacing on his last name, but if I can remember your first name, that's a fucking good sign. It takes me a couple times to remember people's first names after meeting people. Anyways, I've met Henry a few times, and he's in a band, and I made some album art with him, and he just released his new EP, and the kid is a fucking sick cunt. I fucking love his ass. And he's like 18, I'm fucking 21 right now, and most of my mates are 21, and he's like this young little kid, fucking epic on the guitar. The kid is gonna blow up. Fucking love Henry. Anyways, his band is playing Fiesta Island in San Diego, that's where I'm from, and that's where they're from as well. And so anyways, I call him on a Saturday or a Sunday night, and I'm like, oh dude, what are you doing? You know, I'm talking about the album cover. I've been designing this album cover. Maybe I'll throw up the first draft picture. And he's you know, he's like, oh, I like that. And I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, I'll change this, change that, blah 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 blah. And I ended up making a second draft. We went with the second draft. Show that one. Anyways, he's like, oh well, I got a show later on. I'm like, what? And I'm like, Kern Benson, my mate who's like, who I knew, who's the connection to Henry, right? If Kern Benson wasn't in this band, I don't know quite how I know Henry. But anyways, the friendship has blossomed because of them forming a band together. Kern Benson plays the guitar, and Henry also plays the guitar, but Kern mainly does the drums. He can play the guitar like a motherfucker, but Kern Benson on the drums is Kern Benson in goddamn element, man. Fucking kills it. If you haven't listened to Saguaro, I'll link it down again and throw it up there. Anyways, okay, bam, I'm explaining them and I'm gushing over them. They're fucking incredible. Go check them out. So, the story. So they're playing down there. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's show up. And I message my mate Matt, and I get fucking Matt, and he's like, oh, I'm fucking down, you know. Let's go. I've got nothing else going on. Let's go listen to Kern Benson play. We show up to this venue, we tell Kern, and it's like, you know, it's at Fiesta Island. If I don't know pictures, or maybe I'll throw out some pictures, but it's like, it's a pretty big island, and it's not like Hawaii, but it's, you know, it's a big island. And there's like a half mile where we're meant to be like show up where the show is going on, and we're driving down, and it's for, you know, we know it's for an occasion, and we're driving down, and it is a line of RVs, and like half of them have Trump flags or American flags, which whatever, but you know, that's just kind of is what it is, you know. It's like whatever. To each their own politics. However, if you know me, I am liberal, and no offense to any Trumps, my best friend is a Trump supporter somewhat, but I don't like everything he vibes. Anyways, tangents. This is a story for another day. Topic for another day. Anyways, so we're going down. I'm just setting the scene at the moment, you know. Anyways, so we're going down, and it's like Southern California. You don't see that many like Trump people all in one place. And so they're playing at the end of this like half mile of RVs set up, and come to find out later, it was actually a speedboat competition going on. And we show up, and there's, you know, a band playing. We park, we get in there, and we meet Curran, we meet the rest of the band, we're chilling. And, you know, it's a good time. We're dancing, bopping, whatever. And the band goes off, and I met this guy who's fucking cool kid. Cool kid. Come to find out, he was in the next band to come on, and he'd also dropped acid beforehand. I wasn't on anything. I came to this pretty fucking sober. And I didn't drink it at all. I drove, Chew, Matt drove me down. That's his nickname, Chew. Had driven me down, but I still didn't have any alcohol in me. Whatever. He had dropped acid, however, and he goes on, and no offense to the band, but they did not perform well. I feel like they could perform better. They were very high energy and very fucking like loud, but they were a little bit out of sync. The mic for the lead singer wasn't working. There were a few issues, and the guy's on acid. Like he sometimes you can nail playing instruments on acid, and sometimes you can't. It's a foreign fucking concept. I don't know. I'm not a musician, but I'm gonna assume that's kind of what it is. Anyways, and they're really like rock and loud. I don't know how to describe it. Anyways, during this time, I kind of, you know, me and my mates are talking to some girls, and, you know, with the band, and they're like, oh, you know, we're up next, like, that's our deal, and they're like, oh, cool, and we're, you know, chit-chatting, and, you know, she's like, oh, I just finished my Truly, one of the girls, and the other one's like, oh, yeah, and they're like, whoa, you know, we don't have any alcohol, and she's like, oh, you know, you want to go, we've got a box of Trulies, you want some alcohol? Fuck yeah, dude. Again, we're all 21, so it's like, it's fine, whatever. So we walk over to the car, and rarely do you ever get offered alcohol from a girl, which is pretty fucking cool. And I guess you shouldn't accept it from strangers, but I'm like, fucking nah. They were very chill. And so we go to the car and we start drinking, and it's in this like kind of dirt lot at the back end of the half mile of RVs. And we're sitting there, and we open our, everybody gets one. We start drinking. Small group of us. The band's still playing. And right kind of close to the gate, but there was just like fencing. I don't quite know how to describe it, but like with some caution tape, and the guards were lifting it up. Guards. So anyways, one of these guards, quote unquote, is like one of, like, no offense to the man, peace and love, but he's like, the stereotypical Midwest person, and has got, comes over, he's got a walkie-talkie. Because he's got a walkie-talkie, he's got all the power in the world. And so he's like, you guys can't be drinking here, partners. You can't be drinking here. And we're like, what? And he's like, his friends like 5 feet away, 20 feet away, back at the fucking caution tape, have got beers. And we're like, dude, we're all 21. He's like, no, you can't be drinking here. Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, we can. We're fucking 21, back and forth. And normally in these situations, I realize like all these people want typically is they want to feel a little bit powerful. And so I'll make them feel powerful. They'll feel cool, and they'll walk off. And then 5 minutes later, we'll walk back to the car and grab the fucking drinks and like just kiss their ass. That's all they want, And it's like, it doesn't hurt me. I don't give a fuck what he thinks. Kiss their ass, they'll fuck off, and then come back. Two of my friends, however, maybe they have more balls than me, but they're like, no, fuck you, dude, we can drink here. This is right, and one of the girls and one of the guys, and they're fucking giving him shit, and they're blah, 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 and he's getting heated, right? He doesn't like being told what to do. His fucking cronies come over, and they're like, we'll have you arrested in 20 minutes. You guys can't be drinking here. You're not allowed to do this shit, blah, 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 blah. And they're going back and forth, fuck yeah, dude, blah, 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 and whatever. You're creating a racket in front of the RVs. And it's like the lead singer of the band is in front of the RVs. Eventually, we realize, okay, fuck this, it's not worth the time. They realize it's not worth the time, but everybody is like heated. We walk back toward the concert, and the band who is not doing their hottest set, is still playing, and we're sitting there, breaking down, oh, what a bunch of fucking fascist motherfuckers, blah, 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 blah. And the girl, one of the girls decides, she grabs her car keys and starts honking her fucking car. And they're camping out by the car, it's only a minute afterwards. And she honks it like 6 times, and finally one of the guys who was chill up until this point, one of the main guy's friends was chill, comes, I'm not gonna be demeaning to you. He comes over, and he's like, you think you're being a smart ass? You think you're being a smart ass? What? I'll have you arrested. And he starts pointing a finger at my friend's face, and my friend's like, dude, don't fucking point your finger at me. And the girl whose car it was just fucking scurried off into the crowd, and we're just like, shit. So then like 5 minutes later, she goes back to her car, we all jump in, and we drive around the block and get some alcohol and drink our fucking Trulies and walk back inside. And it was like, fucking A, dude, that was easy. Crisis averted. Finally, our friend Kern Benson and Henry, I don't know his last name, it's their time to play. This band was not doing their best, and they come on and they start fucking killing it. I mean, unbiased opinion, of course, they are fucking nailing this. And like, Henry's doing, Hendrix, he's doing Doors and playing all sorts of shit. And, at one point, like, the guy has got the fucking guitar behind his head, fucking nailing, I don't even know what fucking song. But like, a crowd of people, I'll throw up an Instagram picture of this because it's such a good picture. I fucking love it. It's of Henry with a crowd of hands reaching for him. And it's like, oh, this is fucking sick. They're a fucking new band, And they're like, oh, they haven't become successful yet, but they're like, they're starting out. They're fucking figuring their bones. They just released an EP, and Henry has got this crowd fucking going. And I'm like, fuck yes, dude. Fuck yes. And then there's like adults in the background, adults who, the previous band kind of like, no offense to them, a peace and love, had dropped the bar a little bit. And they just, not that they needed it at all, but it was just like a breath of fresh air. And you're just like, adults are showing up, which is one thing. He's like, and he's fucking nailing it. And they're doing their new EP songs. Kern Benson on the drums is fucking killing it. Henry pulls out the harmonica and starts fucking harmonicking this bitch up. And you're like, hell yes. And finally they fucking finish. Kern ends it with like this massive drum solo. And you're just like, oh yes. I don't know, I was dancing the entire time. It was fucking beautiful. People were jiving to it. It was like, oh yes. And then the next band comes up. They were the second to last to play. And this band, the last band, Squeaky Buddha. What a fucking name for a band. Oh, Kern Benson's band's name is Saguaro. It's the name of the cactus. I'll link it again. You also got Squeaky Buddha, who I've seen once before, and they start, jamming, and they're fucking cool dudes. This is a sick band with some characters. They're a bit older than I am, but they've like, they've seen some shit. They like fucking, they're fucking sick, and they know how to play some good instruments. And they start going, and like fucking killing it. And then like 20 minutes into their set, it's 9:30, and one of the fuckers comes back, and it's like, all right, show's over. It's done. People are trying to get to bed. And, these guys had only played for 20 minutes, and it was like, they fucking, like, they'd been around all fucking night, got set up, brought their shit. And he's like, nah, show's over. And I'm just like, fuck. And, we're like, fuck, and 30 more minutes. And you could tell they were like, they were like, give kudos to the lead singer. He's like, happy birthday. Or he's like, first, like, he's like, all right, 20 more songs. Joking. Very, very much sarcasm in his tone. And then he's like, all right, one more song. Happy birthday to Jesus. Happy birthday to Jesus. And sings this like mock thing, and they're like, whatever. I shouted out fucking Trump lost the election, and you should, I shouted it out. My friend Matt is like, dude, you should have seen the look on these people's faces. Peace and love to anybody. I'm trying to disconnect from politics. I do not like Joe Biden either. However, I also dislike Trump more. It's a weird one. It's short for another J. Day. they wrap up the show. We're packing down shit, and we're with these girls, and we're kind of like, oh, what's the next plan? Let's go out to the car. And they're like, oh, let's drink another Truly. Obviously, we couldn't bring it back into the show, so we walked back out. We grabbed our Trulies, and like the way it was set up, like parking was like on the outside of these fences, and then you had like the half mile of RVs that ended in like a dirt lot. Some of them were on one side facing the water. To paint you up. All right, well my phone just cut out. And it's actually the next day, or it didn't just cut out. All right, well my phone cut out. This is actually the next day. But I thought I'd finish this story because we're almost at the end of it. And so we're at these RVs. The show's wrapping up. It was a grand old time. We argued with some fascist trailer park dudes. And to be fair, we gave them hell and they gave us hell. And by the end of it, we were actually like kind of chit-chatting with them. This was while we were inside, a little bit, not too much, a reasonable amount. And so we come out of it and we're back by the cars and, reminiscing about the night. I'm like, all right, we're figuring out the plan, and we hear some ladies like on the other side of this fence. They were parked kind of behind where the show was going on in this dirt lot. There's still RVs, in the dirt lot surrounding it. So we're like, okay, we overhear these two women talking, and they kind of hear us, and you're drunk, and they're probably drunk or buzzed, or what have you, and of course we start up a conversation with them, and I wish I could remember these girls' names. I think one of them, his name was Tammy, and the other one's was Carl, or it wasn't Carl, but it was like it was a name I hadn't really heard before, but Carl, but a female version of that. I know it was something similar. That's beside the point. I don't know why my brain gets locked on these random details of the night, but I'm like, all right, for some reason this is key to the story. This is world building right here. So we're chit-chatting with them, and talking jokes and talking about oh, this is a speedboating race. Oh, that's very interesting. And they're from the Midwest, and people would come all over to the show, and we're like, oh, what are your wise words of wisdom? And one of them is like, well, never smoke cigarettes. That's the biggest suggestion I can give. That's a key, very important to life. And right as one of the girls is like pulling out her box, and they're like, I don't know, it's just a really wholesome moment. I love having these moments with older people. Like, you get some of these people where it's like they're trying to shut down the show, and some of them where you really do have a conversation with, and you're like, the older generation's trading stories with the younger ones, and one of them's like, well, last month I just turned 60, and we're like, oh, happy birthday, and they feel cool and we feel cool, and it's just like, oh, it's fucking grand. I forget, one of them gave us a really grand piece of advice, and of course I forget it, but somewhere in bouncing around in my noggin in the deep depth, it's there. Words I live by that I really can't remember. And so then and then we kind of like, we're like, all right, well, we gotta get going. We were meeting friends. We had decided we were gonna go, I think it was Dave's Hot Chicken. Go get some Dave's Hot Chicken in PB. Before we go, one of the ladies like, oh, well, you guys smoke weed? Like, yeah. And they're like, all right, and they fucking toss up a nug jug of weed over the fence. And it was glorious too, because this conversation was kind of like to backtrack a little bit, like talking to a pastor. I don't, not that I know what it is like, but based on the movie, where like the little boxes they have at churches where you like confess your sins to a pastor. This fence was like a dividing wall with like mesh through it. Everybody's seen those fences, so we really couldn't see him. So this whole time it was like kind of talking to a blind person. You really couldn't put a face to the voices. It was really cool. And we just see this nug jug of weed fly up over, and the look on this like girl's face who who we met at the show, like, and hadn't lived in California for that long. It's like wide eyes, like, oh my God, what a legend. And she's like, oh, I don't know if I have, like, talking about rolling papers or whatever. She's like, I don't know if I have rolling papers. And then the other girl's like, oh, well, just use pages from the Bible. Bible makes for great burning material. You hear from over the fence, no, you can't use the Bible. We've got rolling papers. Don't do that. It was just like, like, you could have said any book. Why choose the Bible? But it was a funny moment. I don't know if it was intentionally satire or not, but I really laughed. And so we, like, the designated driver. I think one of the girls was drinking, but she wasn't drinking that much. Definitely sober enough to drive. We went and got Dave's Hot Chicken and sat under the got chicken, and then went to the beach and sat under the stars, chit-chatting till like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then fucking went home, and that was the night. But like, I don't know, I love those little, like, summertime fucking, like, shenanigan nights where one thing leads, it's just fucking wholesome to get out and go out and see shit and have a good time. Hopefully you found this relatively, hopefully you found it interesting. I thought it was a funny one. It was really the fucking Trump supporters. That this, like, conflict is always the best for a night, where it's like, oh, here's a goal or a mission to accomplish. Maybe I can tie that some wisdom or some advice or some of my thoughts in general to switch gears. Is like, drinking and going to a bar. I enjoy, and since turning 21, just thoughts and things on the universe. And since turning 21, like, going to a bar is good and it's grand and to chit chat and everything, but I love having, like, turning the night into an adventure, because something really spectacular has to happen at a bar for it to I don't know, something spectacular. Whereas if you go to a place with, like, a pool table or darts, or if the night's adventure is like, all right, we're gonna hike this mountain, or we're gonna get drunk and go through this abandoned building, like, there's so much more of an adventure in that, and, like, you'll be able to tell a story, and, like, I'm just saying I haven't gone to an abandoned building. That's just an idea. We're climbing around an abandoned building, and then the cops came and we ran, and then, like, there's conflict and a story that's created. Or you're playing pool, and then if the conversation ever gets a little bit stale, you resort back to the pool. Oh, that was a bad shot, or oh, that was a good shot. Sports as well, going to a sports game. I'm sure I'm preaching, like, some people know sports. Some people are really into sports, some people aren't. It's starting to dawn on me. I've gone into, like, 2 of the Padres baseball games. And sports are, like, starting to click. I've never been a big sports watcher, but since being able to get drunk at a sports game, it makes a whole lot more sense. I really want to go. There's, like, San Diego, like, horse races, and gambling is not good. But I think this is for the best. So we got, like, the horse races, and of course gambling ensues at the horse races. That's what it's all about. And I know my friends, and I know we're all fucking, like, I know we'll just go and spend too much fucking money, and it'll be like, I feel like I've got a little bit more self-control, but I feel like a few people are gonna lose, like, a couple $100. Somebody will make money inevitably, but my mates want to go to fucking Vegas, and I'm like, oh, I dig Vegas. I've only been once, but to go to Vegas is, like, an expensive trip. I'd rather go to, like, the Grand Canyon or to Mexico or San Francisco, like, all the other places, for significantly cheaper than Vegas. Maybe 2 of these trips in a Vegas trip. And if people lose enough money at, like, the horse races, they're gonna realize, oh, if we go to Vegas, we're gonna lose a lot of money. Like, this is gonna be an expensive trip to go to Vegas. So lose a little money now to learn a lesson, and then so that we don't lose a whole lot more money later down the line. Just rambling, thoughts and things about life. But I think this will about wrap it up. This is definitely a lot more slower than usual. I'm still, like, the channel is not gonna be one video type over and over again. I want to, story times, maybe some podcast shit, like fucking tutorials, fucking trippy art music videos, art, like definitely keep up with the trippy stuff, but I got a fucking last month, I don't know if it's been a month, I got fucking addicted to video games again. I love video games, but they really do suck up a lot of time, and I really don't come out of playing video games with like a new YouTube video. I mean, I could record playing video games, but that's not what this is about. I don't think. Maybe one day we'll do some gaming, but not yet. And yeah, peace and love. Alright, that'll about wrap her up. If you liked it, definitely go like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Leave a comment, tell me how beautiful I am. I hope you had a beautiful day, or your day is going beautifully. The sun is out and the birds are chirping. Like I said, I'm gonna be working on a music video, so stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for more saguaro, some more drawing, all of that beautiful good stuff you need in your life. Have a great rest of your day, and with peace and love, I'll catch you on that flip side.